Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dead Cells stream. Today's stream is going to be just a little bit different. I was thinking that maybe I've been winning a few too many of my runs, so I decided to make things a little bit harder for myself. That's right, we're going to be taking a look at the Ice Crossbow today. So this thing saw a huge rework in version 1.9. It actually is a two-handed weapon now, which means it takes up both of your weapon slots. It used to only be a one-handed weapon, but they kind of decided they wanted to make that part of survival's identity. So what it does is, well, this one's pretty nice because it's got 50% damage time at max HP, so we might be cruising it at first. But what it does is the main hand shot is a really fast, pretty good range freeze that freezes the enemy for about a second, definitely enough time to capitalize. And then the second shot is a piercing shot that inflicts crits if the enemy is frozen. And this shot is also very fast. It's like a laser beam, and it's actually really awesome looking. I'll demonstrate it on you. There we go. So this thing is a ton of fun to use. And as you can see, that crit damage is actually quite nice too. So we'll go ahead and just get started here, and this thing kind of rules in biomes actually. It's a little weird maybe that only the second shot crits in the first, or only the second shot pierces and the first shot crits, but the enemy has to be frozen for you to get the crit. So even though you're piercing and hitting all the enemies behind that first enemy, you're only getting crits on the first one and only CCing the first one as well. That said, it's fast. You can freeze multiple enemies and then fire the shot if they are, in various locations. Otherwise, you're just going to keep hitting the first enemy in front of you because that first shot doesn't pierce. But like these rats, these rats don't have that much HP, and maybe it'll be... See, I was just able to take them, oh god, all out with one shot anyway. That might be because I have the 50% extra damage at max HP affix, but it might have killed them anyway. So yeah, ton of fun. Really actually quite good in biomes. Maybe not like the absolute best option in biomes, because if you compare this to something like the repeater crossbow, they're similarly good. This thing is just a little faster than the repeater crossbow, but the repeater crossbow's CC ability is an AoE CC, whereas this has a single target CC, so the repeater crossbow is a little better at dealing with larger groups, but this thing's still pretty dominant in biomes. And of course you get to play survival as well, so you get all the perks of that, lots of HP, etc. And, most survival weapons are so slow, but this one's kind of fast. So that's kind of nice. So why am I talking about how hard this run is going to be? Why am I calling this an unshowcase run? Well, that's because this thing is terrible against bosses. And by terrible, I mean, like, beyond terrible. Like, this thing is probably, except for some extreme cases where you're intentionally giving yourself a terrible loadout, this is probably about the worst boss killing setup that any reasonable human being would ever take into a boss. So that's where I think it's going to struggle a little bit. We're going to try to win anyway, don't get me wrong, but it just might be a little more difficult than usual. And Tonic can't take this thing soon. Oh, but it burns the ground. That's so bad with the ice. Well, the owl is just going to knock people out of the ice anyway, so we might as well take at least something that gives me damage reduction and is the correct color. And Tonic's just awesome, so why not? But anyway, this thing's not totally terrible against all bosses. Like Conjunctivius, Conjunctivius is pretty vulnerable to CC, and because this is a ranged weapon, it's pretty good at being able to keep up with his speed and flying all around and all that kind of stuff. Concierge too. I mean, Concierge is vulnerable to CC. Ranged weapons are good against him as well, but he's Concierge, so Like, it's not really that big of a deal if it's good against Concierge. And you probably can take this thing into Timekeeper too. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I have a feeling it would work all right. And anyway, because I was, well, we'll not do that quite yet. We'll come back to it, revisit this when I've had a little more time to talk about it. That air stall is atrocious too. But the main problem is that a lot of bosses, okay, and I'll talk about this too. When you take a two-handed weapon, you get to have a backpack slot. And basically that exists so that when you find another one-handed weapon that you want to use, you don't have to just be without a piece of gear for a while. You can automatically have another one-handed weapon ready and just switch to that when you drop the crossbow. You can't freely switch back and forth between them, though. They don't want you to just have another option in your arsenal. It's just a matter of convenience. But anyway, what makes this thing bad against bosses? Like I was saying, most bosses are extremely resistant to CC. And freeze, well, stun is the one that works the absolute worst. So probably going to want to get rid of this stun grenade at some point, because it's not going to synergize well with my already very CC-heavy kit. But some bosses are immune to freeze entirely. Other bosses get frozen for such a minuscule amount of time and then build resistance to it that you can barely even use it at all. I think we're ready to just keep going. And as you can see, this thing totally just cruised through this biome. It's, like I said, it's good in biomes. It absolutely is good in biomes. But like Hand of the King, you can freeze him, but you're gonna get like one shot with a crit, and then you're not gonna really be able to get any crits anymore because he's just gonna build up resistance to the freeze. And they actually added a mechanic in 1.9 because they saw that that was a problem, so that now when you're fighting an enemy like Hand of the King, after a few seconds pass, he'll lose his CC resistance, and you'll be able to freeze him again. And the final boss of the game is the same way too. He's freezable, but then he's going to build up resistance, and you're going to have to wait. I'll take Gastronomy. That's always a safe first pick. But the thing is, Hand of the King is already so CC resistant that even that first CC is just going to last long enough for me to get like one crit in. Then I'll have to wait several seconds before I can crit him again. And this thing's non-crit damage is terrible. Like, so terrible. And survival already has, ooh, this is nice, a hard time finding good synergies. So for me to be able to boost this thing's damage with, oh, maybe I should have taken that since it was colorless. The fire is probably not good with the ice though. But yeah, basically this thing is gonna do no damage without its crits whatsoever. So even if I'm critting like once every several seconds, the damage is still going to be awful, and some bosses can't be frozen at all. And like, you know, there are weapons in this game where it's like, obviously this weapon is designed in a way where it's strong at biomes and weak at bosses, or strong at bosses and weak in biomes. That's what makes weapons different and worth taking. The difference between most of those weapons and this one is that those weapons are one-handed weapons, so you can have something in your other hand to help you deal with the unfortunate situation where the weapon isn't good. This weapon takes up both hands, so you cannot have anything in that offhand to help you deal with these difficult situations. You have to win with this weapon. Jumped right in the spikes. All right. Well, that was a horrible start. I had to lose a run eventually. That's amazing that I just did that. Alright guys, so let's go ahead. Try Promenade again. Oh man, that was disastrous before. But anyway, we are off to a horrible start with this biter spewing crossbow that we're going to try to replace in this biome. And I believe what I was last talking about is how certain bosses are immune to freeze entirely. And so this weapon is going to be unable to get crits at all. And we're basically going to be left with something with like 50 or 60 base DPS that has ammo. Like, at least it's fast and has good range. But how horrible this weapon is going to be on some of those bosses is really remarkable. The one thing I will say to defend it is that you don't, like, those bosses that are immune to freeze, Mama Tick and the Giant, you don't have to fight those bosses. So you can take a different route. And that's normally what I would do if I were trying to show off how good this thing is, but that's the point of this unshowcase run. We're actually going to take a route that shows off the struggles that you could have if you take this weapon into the wrong situation. So it's going to be hard. I did already die, so I mean that's not the weapon's fault, but yes, it's going to be hard. That's what I'm getting at. So Hand of the King and the true final boss are probably actually easier than like Mama Tick and the Giant with this thing. We'll see about the Giant, and maybe, no, I don't think it's gonna work at all on Mama Tick. At least the range will be helpful against her, but the Giant, unless you can freeze his eye, I'm pretty sure you cannot freeze his hands. Could be a long battle, and because it's a two-handed weapon, I'm not going to be allowed to have a shield. So I'm going to be at risk of dying pretty much from the first boss on. Is that a shop? Here we go. Finally we can, and they're too expensive. What a disappointment. This is a treasure room, so maybe we can just earn a little bit of money in here. Pick up one of these guys, and then be on our way. Oh, good. Thank you so much, Ryder. I cannot be rid of those things too soon. Oh, God, I thought that was going to punch the elite for a second. I'm just going to leave that elite alone. That should be enough money. All right. So that thing is quite good. But look at this one. Gives the bleeding on... See, that's going to be nice against Hand of the King, because even though you can't freeze him for very long, you'll still get the bleeding damage from it at least. And that's not a starred affix. It's relatively common. So that's like a saving grace for this thing in a similar way that it's also really, really good on Ice Bow. Maybe better on Ice Bow, though. But the thing is, with the Giant and Mama Tick, you have to be able to hit them with a freeze at all for that bleed. So, like, say I just shoot with the freezing attack. If that attack doesn't freeze, they don't thaw, and the bleed never occurs. So it's not going to help my damage against those two bosses, which I'm going to fight. So the obvious plan here is that we're going to try to take relatively high DPS survival skills, because without them, I'm just not really sure how I'll ever get these bosses down. This thing didn't have biters. I bought another crossbow that had biters. What am I doing? I saw all those beautiful affixes and just ignored the biters one. So in this weapon's defense, I am playing pretty badly so far. Well, that was a monumental mistake to buy that thing, but you know, at least in terms of boss battles, it would be more tolerable. Just not at a boss yet. And I did get a challenge lift, so the start could be worse. And the speed of this thing, especially for a survival weapon, it really makes dealing with bats easy. But like I said, It's just strong in biomes all around. Oh, come on now. How did that protector protect him from that shot? But yeah, this is a super cool weapon. Like the whole laser rifle thing. Very awesome. I just think it needs some buffs. If I had that, I would probably try to take it as often as I could. That was a little hairy. Oh god. Guy came out of nowhere. Oh man, what an ideal skill right there. I could just add some more fighters to my arsenal. Never freeze anything again with a weapon that only crits when you freeze things. If there's enough distance between the two enemies, I can still get the kill before the biters. Oh my god! I didn't see that elite. What's the worst that could happen here? Well, he's actually a shield elite, so he didn't just ruthlessly approach me. I know that guy saw it. There we go. I need to find that protector before I try to deal with this guy. Woo! That's a fast jump for such a big man. This thing destroys elites. Any elite that you don't kill in one hit, you can just freeze them. Again. And again. And again. The only problem is when they have these shields around them. Obviously it makes things slightly more challenging. Is he invisible? No. For some reason I was... Wow, he's not even... maybe it's because the enemies hit by this will thaw more slowly? Maybe that affix is allowing me to get multiple crits per freeze. That would be really awesome if that's true. I'm actually not 100% sure how that affix works. Oh. And see, I even totally whiffed that shot, and this weapon is still fast enough that I was able to roll out of the way without getting hit. It's pretty... Wow, there was a scroll right there. Snag this guy before we move on. Scroll count's looking pretty good. In the sake of proceeding quickly, I am going to skip the optional prison biomes. But I still need to get down there to get to Morass. Because we're going to Morass so we can fight Mamatig. By far the hardest option of the first 3 bosses for this weapon, but that's why this is an unshowcase. Alright, alright. Did get 100 kills even with those biters spawning from this weapon. Like this thing, it just kind of rules in biomes. It really does. Maybe this is like a top tier biome weapon. And maybe that's why Motion Twin thinks they don't need to change it. Just a very strong first half of the game weapon. And another issue with these crossbows is what mutations do you take? Because so many of the survival mutations are based on shields. This thing doesn't really need ammo because that second shot actually knocks the bolts back out of the enemy and you recover your ammo. Necromancy? I mean, it would give me the melees back. Heart of Ice doesn't work because you have to hit with a melee attack. Extended healing has been nerfed so much you basically never get melee's reduction from elites. Instinct of the Master of Arms. Like, at least I can get crits in biomes, and I might get some crits against bosses. That's probably one of the first ones I should take. I'll go with that. 0.32 seconds of cooldown reduction right now is not huge, but that will continue to increase. This thing might actually kind of dominate against these, what, giant ticks or whatever these things are coming up. These little mini-boss guys. I say little, but they are quite large. I mean, that was pretty easy. I didn't even really play it that well because I kept expecting him to not thaw after the first shot, and then it's like sometimes he did and sometimes he didn't. I'm just not totally sure how that stay frozen for longer tactics really works. Oh god. I'm gonna have to try to pump up my damage soon. Especially for boss purposes. The lack of air stall too, just killing me against little guys like that when I'm trying to jump off the side and tag them. I hate to use a giant's whistle on those little guys, but I just don't know what else to do. Oh god. Those guys can be a rude surprise on occasion. Oh, good. Well, off-color scroll. I mean, I'll take more HP whenever I can get it, but so far it's kind of my damage that feels like it's holding me back in this biome. Here we go. Take a survival scroll with this. Just a lore room. Maybe I should disable those things for streams. Maybe not. I don't know. There might be some people that'd be interested in seeing them. Although I don't ever actually really click on them to see, hey, or not click on them, but like interact with the scenery or anything to show what they have to offer. Yeah, I would like to be able to see, please. Even with the biters, you know what? We need to take something. Okay, this still has thawing and bleeding. It also has biters. Can't take it. Biters. Biters. Is it on every crossbow? That's so terrible. Biters. No biters. Finally, we have a crossbow with no biters, but the affixes are pretty ass otherwise. This one doesn't have biters. Crits plus 20? Thawing and bleeding? I like this one. This is good. More base damage too. Sad to have thrown my money directly in the... Well, I guess that other crossbow did kind of serve its purpose for a little while, even though it wasn't great. I didn't actually get hit, so how much can I really complain? It would be awesome if I could get shots pierce. I don't know if that's allowed on this weapon or not. Woo! It's a fast man. I think bleed on thaw could potentially go a pretty long way on this thing. Maybe I can at least activate some kind of bleed synergy on my skills to give myself a little bit more damage, but again, I just don't think that's going to work at all on Mama Tick. We'll see. See, if I could just switch weapons at will with the backpack, having that giant killer in the backpack to just switch to for bosses. Oh god. Oh no, okay, the bleed finished him off. You did not make fighting that elite very enjoyable. Have a giant fist. Oh, I should have saved that for Mama Tick. What was I thinking? Really am gonna need that damage buff for her. Maybe I can just cruise through this biome fast enough. What was it? Just a random dead end? Cool. Maybe I can cruise through this biome fast enough that I'll actually still have that food buff in time for the boss. I'm kind of doubtful. That'd be nice. I need to get bonus damage to frozen targets on this Giant's Whistle. That would be sick. Blowgunners. Always such a pain. There's got to be way more scrolls in here. I'm just like not taking the right route or something. Oh man, I really wanted it to punch the invisibility guy. Challenge rift? Alright, alright. I'm at least getting some decent luck with the challenge rifts in this run, so maybe I'll get lucky and that'll give me enough DPS to tolerably fight some bosses. That's a nice amulet too. This one has the extra jump in midair. I think I'm gonna keep that for the rift. And then when I get out of the rift, I'll switch. Even though the other one had a little more HP. I really don't get hit in these things too often unless there's a really long jump. For some reason, I just suck at those. Oh my god, rolled way too soon. Here we go. It's a pretty long jump. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? Alright. Well, I was talking about how I don't get hit in these very often. And that's why I had to promptly go and get hit. A crap ton immediately. Alright, let's fuck you. We're good. Might have to revisit the food shop in this biome now. That was a little bit painful. Maybe I could have waited until I had a few more scrolls to attempt that, but I ain't scared. What do I have? It's just like powerful grenade is burning enemies when they die. Okay. Here's the curse. The blowgunners in this place make me hate my life when I'm cursed. Mainly, I just don't want to have to fight one of those Gigantor ticks while I'm cursed, so let's scout ahead just a little bit. There's nowhere else to go after this. What's the worst that could happen? I've got the damage buff. I'll get another scroll here. Wolf Trap, I mean, it's a real good skill, but with my kit already being more CC heavy than I'd like, I really can't justify taking it. I need the damage from the grenade and the whistle. Just have you some of that. Potentially I can cheese with whistle. Well, I can't cheese the giant ticks with the whistle. But I'd be pretty surprised if there aren't at least 10 more enemies before then. Got a blowgunner. Just deal with you. I'm not taking any chances. Looks like this is going to be pretty smooth, actually. Surprised I aggroed those guys without even going in that room yet. What you doing, boy? These guys just jump all over the place. Like, I swear, they'll be in one section of the biome, and then later I'll find one, like, way in an opposite corner, and it's like, what in the world is he doing? He's just jumping all over the place. Dude, crazy man. You can see that freezing shot on this thing actually has some nice range. The freeze is very good. I mean, that guy wasn't even allowed to play. That was dominant. This thing, it rules in biomes. I've said it once, I'll say it again. And it's really fun. Like, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the two-handed crossbow reworks, but I think this one is really cool, although it totally fails against bosses. And then I think the repeater crossbow rework was actually quite good. The heavy crossbow, it's like, you know, heavy crossbow was so OP before it needed some kind of a nerf, but now it just got nerfed enough that it's like, I feel like it's not really that enjoyable anymore. And the explosive crossbow is just total ass. That's by far the worst rework. Like, why? Explosive crossbow wasn't even good before. Why you gotta nerf explosive crossbow? Makes no sense. It should be such a cool weapon. Instead, it's really friggin' dumb. Like, this thing has cool synergy, you know? Repeater crossbow has cool synergy. Explosive crossbow, it's like your offhand abilities just hit them with the crossbow. It's kind of funny, I guess, but, like, it's not satisfying. I mean, if I wanted to play old explosive crossbow with a melee weapon, I could have just done that all along. And that's, you know, that's why it's a nerf, because the melee weapon that it forces you to take, which is hit him with the crossbow, isn't even as good as a lot of the other options you could have alternatively taken. It's a decent weapon, but typically I don't play a ranged and a melee weapon together anyway. I like to play either like a main weapon with a support weapon or a main weapon with a shield. So just having two main weapons really isn't my style. But man, no complaints about the performance of the biome. This is quite nice. Do I have instinct active? It looks like I have everything here. I'm actually gonna run back to that shop real quick. I'm only missing 11% health. I've killed every enemy in the biome? Is that true? Alright, well, I'm not down a flash charge. I'm not going to spend 4,000 gold just for 11% health. My scroll count is not bad. I think I need to save money for mutation reworks before bosses, probably, to make them tolerable. That's probably where most of my gold needs to go, so I shouldn't whistle. With 15% bonus damage. Ooh, that does bonus damage to bleeding, which is good for the synergy that I have with this crossbow, but because I don't think I'm even going to be able to freeze Mama Tick in the first place, this thing has so much more base damage too. We'll go with it. Oh god, gotta get through that door. Okay. Let's reset. Mutations are going to be costing me a lot on this run. So, dead inside, because I expect this to be very hard. Gastronomy doesn't actually give me anything. Ammo doesn't really give me anything. I don't think instinct gives me anything. I could take recovery. Is tranquility the pick? Because I can just keep my distance. That's really weird to me, but I think that's the pick for this fight so far. Man, I really don't know what else to take. There's just nothing good for these crossbows. How? No, I'm gonna get hit. I'll take necromancy so that I reduce my melees after the fight. Assuming, of course, I'm still alive. First things first is going to be the... maybe I can freeze the eyeball, you know? Let's try it. That was a crit. Okay. Oh god. So I guess she is freezable. I totally did not know that. Alright, alright. Respect, Ice Crossbow. Wow. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. So it's like it doesn't actually freeze her because she keeps doing her attacks, but it gives me the crit anyway. I don't get it. Well, that was fine. That was totally fine. I mean, I got hit a few times, but that was my own bad play. Alright. Maybe I haven't given this weapon enough credit. Swarm. Absolutely the worst thing I could possibly take with this. That was painless. Yeah, I mean, I got hit a few times. Painless might not be the right word. Blueprint unlocked. Gotta change mutations back now. So we are gonna go to the graveyard next because we're gonna go to the giant. And because I'd like to be able to visit the food shop. And the one fewer fragment than I would get from going to Slumbering Sanctuary won't actually cause me any scrolls to be missed out on. So I think I could still take Tranquility. This weapon has good range, and like 27%? That's not a small number. I guess I just don't really know what I would take if I don't. I could take Frostbite. No. I'm gonna take Tranquility. Give me that damage. Wait a second. No, if I want to go Giant, I can't go. I could go Still at Village, but then I'd have to go Sepulcher. And that's when I'd lose out on enough fragments that I would not be able to get as many scrolls as I would if I go this route. So we have to go Graveyard. That's fine. Just means I'll have to take a curse. Which so far this run hasn't been my friend. Went fine in the morass at least. Should really go fine. I mean, this weapon is pretty friggin' good in biomes. Could have been a lot worse. Oh god! Why? We're both just laying there. Maybe, you know, I already did so much work in there. Let's just finish it off. Normally, if I see that there's enemies in here, I decide not to waste our time. But I put in so much effort. That wasn't bad. Scroll just chilling here. That's what I like to see. Just make it nice and easy for me. I do appreciate that. Let's just go ahead and get back to max health. Right. At this point in this run, I did not think things were going to be going this smooth. Crossbow's just not quite giving me enough damage to kill those rats on the piercing shot. It'd be really nice if I could just take them all out with that one laser blast. You guys aren't interested, huh? I will just snipe you like the little coward that I am. Man, this thing is a ton of fun in biomes. Don't want to pierce you and hit that elite. Why don't you come over here, buddy? There we go. Nice, nice. No comment. Am I trying to sell this key? I wish. Then I'll just live in the graveyard for the rest of my life. Because I can't get out of here. What a fun plan. Really thought that one through. Alright. I guess realistically I don't have to take this curse. Gotten so many challenge rips. My scroll count's doing alright. What we're gonna do? Why even play this game? Not for the threat of danger. Sweet, got a dual scroll with my actual main stat on it. It's a rarity. If you didn't know, the game is rigged so that when you get those dual scrolls, it almost never gives you the one that you've been actively focusing on. Somehow it knows. I'm not really sure what the algorithm is or whatever there, but it knows, trust me, it knows? Ooh, a little close. Spike that grenade right into the ground. You didn't know that's my plan? Of course it was. Scorpion over there. You're in the wrong game, my friend. So there's a guaranteed curse chest in this biome, so I'm kind of just trying to fly through here, killing as few enemies as possible before I find it, so that I make sure I have something to go back and kill after I've gotten it. Not that I'd be terribly afraid to enter the caverns cursed. Like, at least it's not a boss after this. Here we go. What's past here? Just teleport. That's what I like to see. But I could get into a horrible situation with an arbor. Colorless Wings of the Crow. Gives you that shock DPS. I don't have anything that synergizes with that. I don't think so. Tempting, but it's a weird enough item, and I'm already kind of in a weird enough run as it is that maybe I don't need to weirdify it anymore. There's a scroll. That's always a good thing to have when you're cursed. Got to do all the damage. Okay, and that's why I didn't go up there and get it yet. My God. They're teleporting to me and I didn't even see them. What even were you? Oh, my whistle can't see the Inquisitor up there. Weird. Well, I'm pretty sure my grenade can see him. What a pain. Is there someone down there? Okay. Oh, there is a rat down there. Never even saw him. Whatever, we got through it. Oh, hello. Biters. You see the biters affix and you're just like, hell no. We already have a crossbow 9. I probably won't spend anything. These are only 9s as well. Alright, Cavern. Where are you? Convenient. I guess I unlocked Explorer's Instinct. Strange little freeze up right there. That's been happening to me from time to time recently. I'm never sure why. It's like something with OBS Streamlabs or something. Like, when I'm playing the game without it, it never happens. But, whatever. Hopefully I got everything in there. I wasn't maybe as thorough as I could have been looking at that map, but... nothing really useful here. That's fine. I'm pretty happy with the grenade whistle combo. Didn't even have to go to the food shop. Just still at max HP. We're gonna need gastronomy for this next boss, probably. I'm a little worried about my damage in this fight. Not this fight, but after caverns. I'm not particularly worried about my damage in this fight versus Shield Man right here. Oh, got him. Seems like my damage is fine. 4-cell room when you're playing on 4-cell or higher, if you've already unlocked it once, just has a bunch of free goodies. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go get some free goodies. Powerful grenade, 10. That's what I call a free goodie. Couldn't have really asked for much better right there. You know, an ice crossbow 10 would be nice, but you gotta get the right affixes. AKA anything but biters. Didn't die in one hit. Oh, I can't freeze him, oh my god! I know those guys are immune to some CC. I didn't realize they were immune to freeze. What we got? Chest room. I'm not fighting my way through it. Too much time invested. Would sure be nice to have a shield to deal with that guy. I'll just struggle. Or will I? Couldn't do that again in a million years. Birds. My arch nemesis. The blue ones in particular. See, I can't even get the bleed on him because he doesn't freeze at all. Well, let's up that tranquility range. Although that probably won't do much of anything versus the giant. Can't really get away from him. He is all around you. He's omnipotent. Sad Scully, as he is also known. Rude Scully at the end of the fight. Just ask resident name guru Gwen. She knows all about his other acceptable names. Keep taking damage for now. My HP is... I guess I can always go dead inside and my HP will be fine, but... yeah, and I probably should just keep getting as much damage as I can, because otherwise my damage output is just going to be so bad if I can't freeze this boss. But I almost wonder, like, if Motion Twin thought of this. They're like, oh, Ice Crossbow is going to be absolutely terrible against these bosses you can't freeze. We need to do something. And they made it so that on Mama Tick, even though you don't freeze her, you still get the crit for some reason, and it's just kind of weird, but will there be something similar against the giant? That'd be cool. because I really think this weapon is super fun. So if it's more playable, then I absolutely support that. Thank God for the whistle on those freeze-resistant guys. I mean, the other enemies, they don't get to play. I'm just blowing them up so quickly. Crusher? Crusher might be nice. Oh, hello, Crusher. Those affixes aren't phenomenal. Well, I don't hate what I've got. And as I was saying, I need to save money for mutations anyway. And yeah, my HP is fine. I can just keep taking damage scrolls. Should be no problem whatsoever. Crazy to think that I would look at 14,000 HP and think to myself, that's fine, before going into the giant in 1.8. That would have been absolutely laughable. Why are there no teleporters up here? Look at this. Is there something down here that I've missed? Okay, one bird. Great. Alright, well I guess I'll just take forever to navigate back over here because there's no teleporters. How strange. I haven't even been in this room. What is it? Free stuff. If only. I'm gonna pick it up. Just put it in the backpack because I like it. It's cool. Probably the gold would have served me better because this is the ice crossbow run. I'm not going to switch weapons. But my god, that thing would have been so good against the giant coming up. So knowing that this weapon actually can fight the first 3 bosses, regardless, like, well, and I say the first 3 bosses, but I mean the first boss, regardless of which of the 3 you choose. This is probably the point of the game where you would want to start looking for something else. Because it crushes all these biomes, and it is totally usable against those bosses. But then I feel like coming up, the boss density gets so much higher, and it's just not probably going to be particularly useful against any of them. Causes me to lose the damage scroll, but look, I have the extra scroll and the extra damage reduction. I'm not insane. Whew. The other one's not even coming after me. Not interested. He's like, no thanks. Where did you biters come from? Oh, it's the powerful grenade. Now I need to make sure powerful grenade finishes its fights if I'm going to try to use it with ice crossbow. It's like, god damn, I swear I worked my ass off to make sure I didn't have any biters. Alright, let's pick up a huge crossbow here. We're gonna need a 12 to get through this. Look at this one. Crits plus 20, bleeding. Victims freeze near. So, this freeze nearby enemies when they die affix can be awesome on this thing, I think. Because theoretically, you freeze the first enemy in front of you, kill him with your piercing shot. When he dies, the enemy behind him freezes, gets critted by your piercing shot, on and on down the entire line of enemies. The only thing is that beam, the critting beam, travels so fast, I'm not sure if the enemies actually freeze or get hit first, which is kind of unfortunate. Fighters. Are these like the same? Ammo, critical hits, freeze, thaw. I think they are. I think they're exactly the same, and they cost exactly the same amount. We're gonna take one. Higher damage, one more affix. Can't lose. What is that saying? Clear eyes, hearts full, can't lose, or something like that? Whatever. Sounds lame. Doesn't apply to Dead Cells. I see you eyeballing me down there. He blocked that? Is that how grenades work? Oh, here comes a grenade. I'll just put my shield up. I'm pretty sure that doesn't work when I put my shield up in this same game. My shield that I don't have. Wiped here. Who am I kidding? I don't take shields anyway. Room that exists for no reason. Man, I mean, Cavern has been going smoothly, even with the Arbiters and not having a shield. I was like, I don't want to be cursed in here. I mean, it would have been fine. Scroll back there. Alright, so we'll go get the scroll. And then we will take the croissant. The croissant. Did you guys know Motion Twin is French? And then we're not actually going to eat the croissant, even though it looks very delicious. We are going to sell it for the damage buff. We got a freebie here. Gonna make me work. Freebie. And another shop too. I'm obviously happy with this crossbow because I just bought a 12, but I might as well see if there's some decent skills. Maybe I should be re-rolling. Oh, nice, it is skills. Re-rolling this fist for bonus damage to Frozen. You know what? I want to go for a Crusher again. I feel like Crusher could be so solid with this build. Oh, almost reload too soon. Generates a toxic cloud. Burns the ground when destroyed? But look, it generates a toxic cloud and does bonus damage to poison. This thing is a boss-killing machine. And it does extra damage to bleeding, which I'll get from the crossbow. There's no not taking this. What do I get rid of? I'm already so powerful in biomes. I think I'll get rid of the grenade so I can keep the whistle for bosses. Grenade's not bad for bosses. Whistle, I think, just is a little bit stronger. Not much. Even at a 9 instead of a 10. Alright. I've unlocked the closest one to that. Let's go take this croissant. Sell that bad boy. And let's see what happens. Will the giant be a horrible bastard? Will he be a medium bastard? Will he be a nice unbastard? Didn't get the door this time. Again, I'm just afraid it could be a long one, and I might take a lot of melees, so we'll go dead inside. Don't think I'll get any crits, so we're not going to take instinct. Support. Support's the move now that I have Crusher. I knew there was a reason I was taking Crusher. And how about Necromancy? Drop some melees again. Like, I'm pretty good at dodging the giant. I don't know that I'll get hit a ton, although I don't have a shield, so I'll have to dodge him for that. We'll see. We'll see. Too much talk. Let's see how it goes. And you cannot freeze him at all. Do not take this weapon versus the giant. The knockback on that kicked me into his laser. Crusher doing work though. There we go. I need to just save the whistle for the... What are you doing? Oh my god, what is this? Whoa, I didn't even see that! How did that happen? I'm losing my mind. Thank God for that whistle, or I would have no damage on this boss whatsoever. Didn't get it quite close enough. Oh, I just got the hit there because he moved his hand over slightly. Is this taking long enough for you guys? Oh, the poison cloud's not reaching him. No, no, no. Crusher rules against this boss, though. Oh, I accidentally tapped jump after I rolled there. Just throw that crusher right into the abyss. I don't see anything wrong with that strategy. Come on. Not fast enough. The crystals weren't even done falling from a second ago. What are you doing? Alright, got him down. That was pretty bad. I mean, that's definitely the worst weapon I've ever taken into the giant fight. But I think that's going to be the worst one. I mean, he's not freezable at all. Hand of the King, true final boss. I think they'll at least be freezable. They just won't stay frozen for very long. Man, if only I could take what doesn't kill me right here. To try to get some of my HP back. Or now might be a kind of time where I'd start looking for a tonic, too. Keep that crusher for bosses. But gastronomy, definitely a go-to all the time. Instinct, of course. Tranquility. And I think Tranquility is going to do me some decent good against the true final boss, too. I'd love to take some kind of a damage buff against Hand of the King. I'll probably have to go with support for that. But Hand of the King's arena is just so small. There's no way I can get far enough away to use Tranquility's buff often enough. What a weird magnetic grenade. Also, what about those two weird door rooms up there? What was I just looking at? Normally I don't like to go this guy right away until I've grabbed the other scrolls. Fighting elite slashers is often a difficult proposition. This thing is just so dominant though. Biomes. That slasher's not really in play. As I said, trying to sell the key again. That's my go-to move this run. Ooh! Oh, he tagged me. He doesn't. It didn't hurt much. Doesn't give you melees. Those elite abilities do not give you melees, which is so nice. Because otherwise they would be ruthlessly killed. And I mean, this is borderline brain dead easy. This thing absolutely dominates in biomes. If you guys didn't know that that's the way I felt about this, now you do. So fast, so powerful. Tremendous range. Doesn't have auto-targeting, but I mean, come on. If it did, it'd just be utterly busted. And like, it'd be way too good in biomes. It's already incredibly good in biomes. Ow. That hurt a lot. Oh my god, where did you come from? I have to flask. Damn you, High Peak Castle. I didn't even have to come here, but I was just like, I think I'm gonna need the damage from these scrolls. I can at least buy another flask in the spoiler. Or can I? I mean, my gold is getting a little tight at this point. That hit me still. Unreal. So much for brain dead easy, and I've gotten hit 3 times in a pretty quick succession at this point. Definitely glad I popped that flask, though. Well, let's boost that HP before we charge into any more horrible situations. They only take 1 frozen hit to kill, and yet I'm getting hit by those guys constantly. Like it's my job. Goodies? What you doing down here? You want the goodies too? Ooh. It's too much. Earlier in the game, definitely would have been something I would have enjoyed. Now it's... I need more abilities that focus on damage for bosses. More skills that focus on damage. These are fine. I need the gold for other stuff. Can't be thrown around in shops right now. Boxes? Well, there's your lore for you guys. I only clicked on the boxes because I wanted the goodies, which there were unfortunately none. I hope you guys can read fast. Set it and forget it, Crusher up there. It's crazy to see a war spear and look longingly at the war spear like, oh, if only I could take this thing. Because war spear is not the greatest. It's okay for biomes. It's still not good for bosses, but maybe compared to this thing, it might be. That Crusher can go ahead and kill that guy now. Very much appreciated. Can just freeze him right out of that tornado. That's cool. Close call. Just kidding. Damn, should have come in from this side. Oh, this does deposit me right at the entrance, or exit. Sorry. And there's a tonic. But I had to flask. I already flasked. I'm not gonna take it. Gonna stick with the damage instead. And let's not forget to get that last scroll before we leave. What's the best way to get over there? Is this the closest door? Disappointing. Does this? That doesn't even link up. What if he has food? Single hit damage is getting pretty high. don't think I found food, but we're just gonna move on. We should be fine. I actually need just about 30 seconds. I will be right back. Alright, sorry for the delay, but I am back. Let's go on to the Hand of the King with a weapon that I am terribly afraid is going to be absolutely terrible against Hand of the King. Maybe I should be looking for either poison or bleeding or frozen synergy on that giant whistle, just to maximize my damage output. Burns the ground when destroyed on that crusher. Is that just gonna make it so I never freeze this boss once the entire fight? It might. And if that happens, then good for me. Anyway. Got to reset the mutations, so we will go with Dead Inside. And I think I'll probably get hit at least 3 times, so Necromancy will be useful. And we'll take support again because of Crusher. And how bad can this really go? Let's find out. And if you haven't seen this cutscene before, this is what happens when you wear the King's outfit into this fight. This is actually kind of a cool Easter egg. I don't know what makes him suddenly realize that I'm not the king, but anyway, I mean, spoiler, I am the king, so... So freezing him seems to be undoable. Like, I'm pretty sure he thawed out before my freeze hit on my very first attack. But at least, like, you can freeze him, he just doesn't stay frozen long enough to get the crit. But he at least stays frozen long enough to get the bleed. Come on down. That went surprisingly not that bad. The bleed upon thaw affix absolutely saves this weapon. And I didn't get hit that many times. Like, I actually recovered all of my melees there. Simon, is that you, buddy? How's Atlas going, man? I know that's you. Well, anyway, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you checking out the stream, even though you probably have no idea what's going on. Alright. So we will go back to gastronomy. Hopefully we can pick that up before the final boss. How about tranquility again? I guess instinct. Do I have the money to buy a flask? I'm not actually sure. Here I am in the Astro Lab with 3 flask charges. I'll probably get enough money to buy another charge, but then I might not be able to reset my mutations if I do so. This run is not going nearly as badly as I expected. Except for that first one, where I died to a curse in about 5 minutes in Promenade, which is a biome that doesn't even normally have a curse. That was some skills right there. Years have not been kind to you, Big Bird. Where's Flying Man? I mean, at this point, there's not much left to say about this weapon, except that it has been better than I thought it would be. One of the more pleasant surprises I've played with so far. Ice Bow was also a pleasant surprise. I think I've just underrated the ice weapons because I figured they wouldn't be able to do shit against bosses because of their CC resistance. But that bleed on thaw affix just saves their damage in single target situations. Really wish that giant fist had punched the librarian, the enemy that's actually difficult. This run is definitely forcing me to make a lot of decisions about how to spend my money. And realistically, if I wasn't on stream, I'd be a little more thorough about going through and killing more enemies. So I would realistically also have more gold to spend on stuff like this. But right now, it's like, do I buy a flask charge? Do I save gold to reroll my mutations? Do I save gold to reroll that Giant's Fist? This Crusher, though, my god. This Crusher is absolutely my saving grace against bosses. Giving itself self-synergy, activating support for me so that I actually have something to do with my mutation slot. It has been phenomenal. Oh! Whiffed that right there. Riggedy, riggedy wrecked. The skull is like weirdly frozen. Huh. Not sure if that was helpful. Probably not. Ooh, hello. This is why we take gastronomy, by the way. Oh my god, not Big Bird! Those bastards! Alright, well, now's the time to take this. And another thing about this bleed on thaw version of the ice crossbow is even if you have anti-synergies going on, like I just had fire on that bird because of my I think, no, I don't have the grenade anymore. What am I talking about? I had fire on the bird for some reason. Both, okay, the Crusher burns the ground when destroyed, Giant's Whistle burns enemies when they die, so the burn came from somewhere. But then I was just able to CC the bird basically with my weapon while continuing to pile up bleed stacks because of that affix. So it is so good. It's like as good as a starred affix, but it's not starred. So that's one thing that these ice weapons really have going for them. I didn't get to do that. I keep doing this. I just want my viewers to suffer with these arduously slow runs. The scroll, it looks like it's in the tower, huh? Okay, well. Which route have I not gone? I should have been a cartographer in a past life. Screw you, librarian. Like that looks like I could drop down there. Why would I want to do that? I'll just like take a ton of damage if there's nothing else. Am I missing something? There's like a, okay. I think I see where it is. I hope. Please tell me that's not cut off. It is. It is. I think I stopped exploring that way previously because it was just a lower room, but it looks like there might have been something on the other side of the lower room. Okay, yep. There's stuff over here. Come on. Oh no, don't punch the bird. I do hate those birds. I said the birds were my most hated enemy in this game, but come on. Everybody who's played this game and made 5BC knows these little book-riding douchebags. Wow. The friggin' defender. Oh my god. Those book-riding douchebags are the worst. That's what I was getting at. The absolute worst. There's that last key that I needed. Time to cruise. A Minotaur scroll. I can actually pick up a main stat in Astrolab. And we're gonna roll into the final boss with 31 survival, which is not shabby. Really, it's pretty good. That time he hit the librarian. Solid work, Giant. I guess I just had to tell him what I wanted. Maybe he just didn't know. I'm giving him such a hard time. He's like, come on, dude. I'm not dumb. I have feelings. The freezing bolt is killing them. Straight away. Oh, mistime that one. All right, Big Bird and his friend, Big Bird. Crusher damage. Holy sh... I'm gonna say that word for your poor virgin ears. Remembering not to curse on stream is a somewhat difficult thing for me. Double shop. I have like no money. Let's hit the shops anyway. Really? Like, come on, it's killing me with the fist not targeting the librarians here. I'm not spending my money on a new thing, but I could buy a flask charge. No, what's the point? Oh, there's probably a teleporter down there. I'm not afraid I'm gonna run out of flash charges. I might as well go for the perfect. What a weapon to do it with. But I will never not try. Gotta get it on stream. And I'll have enough money to reroll the whistle too. And this time I don't have to take necromancy. So, but I will take dead inside. So things don't turn extremely sour. I can't imagine I'll make it to the point where emergency triage is actually useful. In fact, it'll probably just harm me because I'll recover less HP. But I could take it. I'm probably better off with additional damage, don't you think? Like, I can take tranquility and support. I think I need the damage more. And I think I'm likely to need a flask in a situation other than the required moment at the end of the battle. We'll see. Have a middle finger. Have all my cells. Okay. You won that exchange. Gonna need this liquid courage for this guy. Time for my medicine. So I didn't actually force him to flask there. Why aren't you bleeding? Or are you? Okay, he is. He's just like coming up. Look at that. Finally got it. It does give me some nice interrupts. And I forgot to reroll the Giant's Whistle. That's why I didn't get the perfect. Just kidding. Final boss music is pretty badass, in my opinion. Yeah, are you trying to do stuff? I don't think so. He did stuff. Is this the final phase? Like, he's getting some real bleed stacks. Holy crap, dude. That wasn't that bad. I had a good amount of scrolls, but I barely actually landed the crits at all, but the bleed upon thaw synergy, or not even synergy, just affix, just made it work. It's not complete ass in boss fights like I thought it was. It's only mostly ass, but at least it's fast. Like, the damage is low, but it has good range, and it's fast. This weapon is just infinitely better than I gave it credit for. I thought this run was going to be absolutely terrible, and admittedly it was my first loss on stream, so take this with a grain of salt, but I think that loss had nothing to do with the fact that I was using Ice Crossbow. It was just me. It was literally just me rolling into spikes. Let's be real. Oh, secret ending. Holy crap, guys. There's really no getting around it. I'm just going to sit on this throne on a zombie-infected island and sip some wine. He doesn't even like it. He prefers crawling around the sewers. And then, like, another beheaded shows up. And they, like, mirror each other's moves. Is there something that I'm supposed to be getting here? If so, I don't get it. Maybe I have to be French to understand. Anyway, that's it for the stream, guys. Thanks for watching if you made it all this way. Really appreciate the support. And this will be uploaded to YouTube if you want to check out the run in its entirety. Y'all have a good night.